How are you doing, Esther?
Doing amazing. Calling from the sunny Colombia. How are you?
Oh yeah, I'm doing great. I guess we'll hop right into the intro, I guess. The
Let's
top
go.
1% are not rich, famous, or attractive. They are an authority. People listen to them and care about their opinions. It doesn't matter who you are. Becoming a top 1% authority will guarantee influence and promise a personal brand that people can't get enough of. And people can't get enough of this gal. She is the 1% authority on X and continues to be an inspiration for not just me, but a lot of creators. From 10-hour shifts as a barista to making four figures by writing online, she has been through hell and back. But I can confidently say that she is back and better than ever. The story is too good for me to tell, so I'll let her dive deep into it during our conversation. It is my hope to show the world a human that is kind-hearted, well-spoken, and most of all, loving to everyone she crosses paths with. Her story is like a beautiful work of latte art. Esther, welcome to the show.
Wow, thank you. That was such a precise introduction. I'm speechless. You had it spot on. I'm impressed.
Yeah. How do you pronounce your last name, by the way? Because I was too scared to like add it into the intro because I knew I was gonna mispronounce it.
Yeah, my last name is hard to pronounce. It's like Ziverte. That's
Ziverte.
like international pronunciation. But yeah, in my native language you would say Ziverte.
Hmm. How do you say your first name in your native language?
Estere.
Estere. Okay.
Yeah, but you can
Do you
call me
prefer do you prefer Esther or Esther?
Esther.
Okay, got you. All right. Yeah, and so you said you're from Colombia. That's so cool. It's crazy how all the people I've met have literally been from across the world. Like Singapore, now Colombia. Some people, like very few people actually in the US, like Australia, got someone coming on the pod from Australia next week, and it's just like the connections are crazy. Like you can just meet anybody from anywhere, and that's something I really love about just doing the podcast and just like being on X because everyone's so cool. Everyone's from such cool places, and everyone's just like so fun to hang out with. So yeah, hell yeah.
100%.
Esther, tell me about yourself. What got you into this whole entrepreneurial, I guess, path? And what do you believe are the key moments, those inflection points that you believe have impacted your journey the most?
Oh wow, this dates back to when I was a child. Like growing up, I always knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur. And I believe so many people growing up, they don't have those entrepreneurial dreams. They grow up not knowing really who they're going to be.
Hmm.
But growing up, I always knew that I wanted to be an entrepreneur and work for myself. And then at 16, I believe I started my first business ventures and I started building my first online businesses, which all failed miserably. And I tried everything, anything from selling on Etsy, drop shipping, and theme pages, and trading, and social media accounts. And I never made a single penny doing that. But I always found so much success growing social media accounts.
Hmm.
And for 3 years, I spent my time growing social media account on Twitter. I mean on TikTok, sorry.
Hmm.
And I grew my TikTok profile to 30,000 followers. And I saw so much success with that. And even though I wasn't monetizing the page, I was just doing it because I enjoyed it. And I gained so much insight on how to grow social media accounts, not only on TikTok, but I learned so much how to grow elsewhere. And now I am applying those same skills to grow back on Twitter, my second account. So yeah, I've always been passionate about social media. It's always been my thing. Unfortunately, for 3 years, I couldn't monetize it simply because of the niche that I was in. But I sold the account not that long ago, and now I am proud that yeah, I grew it to such a large following and now sold it and people can gain value from it. And yeah, that's what made me come here on X and X Twitter and try something new because I always believe that I can apply these skills of growth somehow and monetize that. And yeah, I came on Twitter about like 5 months ago, and I already had knowledge and expertise in growing accounts. So yeah, for the first 30 days, my growth was like so shit. Like it was so slow. And I thought this is not for me, that writing online is maybe so much different to posting content like on other socials. And after the first 30 days, well, I just kept showing up, kept persisting, kept posting until something finally clicked. And then within 42 days, I then monetized my account. And that was like the first dollar I made online in my 3 year long journey of entrepreneurship. So that felt insanely well deserved. Like, even if it was just my first dollar in line, that meant the world to me. And like,
Hmm.
it completely shattered all my like limiting beliefs and made me want to go all in on Twitter. And yeah, then I saw the huge potential of growing a personal brand and gave it my all. And now I haven't looked back since. Despite my account getting banned at 3,000 followers, I just kept pushing, kept going, and now I am building from scratch and has never been better.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Could you walk me through that day when you made your first dollar online, like after those 3 years? Were you like running around like screaming, excited? I always love hearing the first dollar story.
Yeah, the first dollar story is actually quite funny because I monetized my giveaway. So I created a giveaway, I launched it, and then I uploaded it on Gumroad. And then like it was free, but people could leave like tips or any donations that they wanted if they found it valuable. And then I was still in school and I'm sitting in class. I open up my PC and I check my email and I see I have a notification saying you just like had a donation of €1 and that made me so freaking happy. And I was just sitting there, holy crap, there's no way somebody just paid me for it. And then the guy sitting behind me, my classmates, guys, they just saw that I made that first dollar online. They started laughing at me. They're like what the hell? Like just $1. Like, what is that? But then later on, like a month later or 2 months later, I made just 200 extra from that giveaway alone. So it compounded, and then I saw the potential of marketing it better, and people were demanding it, and that's like kind of the first product that I started monetizing, and I saw surprisingly more success than I anticipated with it,
Hmm.
and that meant the world to me. And yeah, I then took it down 2 months later, and but until then, like I was so grateful that I made it in the first place. So it was completely world changing, and I never thought that moment would come. So yeah, it meant a lot to me to see that people were willing to pay for it.
That's crazy. From one giveaway, you not only monetize, but then you grew your account. Because I feel like a lot of people think like, oh, okay, giveaway, I'm giving away all this free stuff. But then you put it on Gumroad and people give you tips. And that was where your first dollar came from. That's actually crazy. I've never heard of that before.
Yeah, it is a crazy way to monetize. Like I suggest so many people to try that out. It's such a great way to earn passive income, extra passive income. But not only that, but I also saw that like people were leaving those tips, although it was a free product, and they weren't leaving that many like €1 tips. It started compounding to like €5 or €10. I was like, whoa, now it's increasing. So like people are actually willing to pay for it and they're leaving great reviews. So how can I package that into a product that I can now sell? And that is when I just saw the demand increase. So I just made the product paid.
Hmm.
And that's when people started paying for it. And it was just like $10. And yeah, it was like a week later, I made it paid and people were still buying it. So it is definitely very underrated skill and very underrated way to monetize a giveaway.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So that means that your giveaway must have been really, really good, like really fucking good. You must put in a lot of work into like building the thing initially so that people would actually not only get the giveaway on X, but then they would go to Gumroad to give you the tip. So I guess I want to ask about what was your workflow like for making the giveaway? Like how many hours did you pour into it? Did you early mornings, late nights? Like what did you do to build such a good giveaway?
Oh yeah, I worked my ass off for that giveaway. It was just my
Hell
first
yeah.
giveaway. So I wanted to ensure that it is like the best I could make it. Like it's 10 out of 10. So like initially I set myself a deadline to launch it within a week or something. And I had that announced on my Twitter profile. And then as I started creating the giveaway, I'm like, hold on, I actually want to make this section better. I want to make this better. I want to make this
Yeah.
section better. And then like it started happening. And maybe I was overthinking it a bit because it was my first giveaway ever, but I wanted to just ensure that it is the best I could make it. So I spent in total like 2 to 3 weeks making it. And I think that is a pretty average amount of time to create a very great giveaway. Like great giveaways, they don't take that quick to make. They take weeks usually. So I really made sure that I was pouring all my knowledge into that first giveaway ever. And I was so excited. I was so anxious about the launch. I felt like who would even like get it? And when I thought like when I saw the first 10 people comment the keyword to get it, I was just like, oh my gosh, it went successfully. So it was successful and it was all worth it in the end to spend those weeks creating it and it paid off. It paid off essentially. So everything pays off in the end, whatever you do. And the more you pour in, the more inputs you give, the more outputs you get. So it only made sense. But yeah, it was just pretty incredible.
Yeah, you worked your ass off for this. What were you specifically kind of using as motivation or like fuel to like work on this? Like, was it because it's your first giveaway and you're super excited, or was it like some other kind of motivation there?
Great question. I think it was also my drive to make my first dollar online. Like I created that with the intention to see what is the possible outcome with this if I make the product so damn good. And if I make it so damn good, there's absolutely no way that it will fail. And I was like, this is my chance to prove myself. And this is basically the only shot I have, and I have nothing to lose. So I really want to see if I can give it my all for this just one thing, how big is the reward going to be?
Right.
And yeah, I was just driven to see how serious is Twitter? Like how much work you have to put in order to see success. Because not only did I monetize the giveaway, I also grew my account very successfully after that. And yeah, it not only generated income but also like growth on my profile. So like everything fell into places after that. And like it just felt amazing. And people were leaving very positive comments. So it just felt like within 42 days I had already like surpassed my goals that I could have only imagined achieving months down the line
Hmm.
later on. So yeah, some of the growth I experienced much sooner than anticipated, but that felt extremely rewarding.
Yeah, that's like the best feeling in the world to like see everything fall into place, especially after those 3 years where it's like failure, 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 and then you drop this like, or you work your ass off on the giveaway, you make it the best thing ever, and then you launch it and it does well. It grows your account, gets you uh your first dollar. It actually drives more income. That's like the best feeling in the world to see it all happen. And I think that kind of brings up the idea of like first there's nothing, like first you're failing, 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 and then there's like everything and something just clicks, right? And so for you as the giveaway, that's awesome. How did you turn the free thing, the giveaway, into something that people would actually pay for, like the paid product? Like how do you make it even better?
Oh, great question. Yeah. Well, to add on to your point, it definitely felt like insanely rewarding to see my hard work finally pay off after 3 years of being extremely clueless and directionless. So anything that you do, just if you give it your 100%, then you will inevitably see reward for it. So whatever you do, just give it your all. And that's just my advice from this insight, from this experience. And
Mm,
if you do, you will not fail. Like you gave it your all. So you can never regret giving it your all.
yeah.
But yeah, speaking of the product itself, so initially I created my Twitter account to do like email marketing services. Like I
Hmm.
came on Twitter not knowing what the hell is personal branding. I just
What is a
started,
personal brand?
yeah, I just started writing content and I was like, well, let's see where this leads. Like I don't really know what the hell I'm doing here. I think I want to do email marketing, like how can I get better at it? So like let me write about it. But then like I don't know where this is going to lead. So it's like, okay, let me continue writing about stuff that is valuable. And I kept posting about it. And then I started seeing like pretty good growth with my account, and people started really appreciating my posts and giving me good feedback like your writing is so great, teach me your ways. And I also noticed that I was getting better at writing and I was becoming better at personal brand building than doing like a done for you service like email marketing. And like people were also giving me the same feedback. So it's like whatever feedback you get from your audience, from the market, it is always a sign to follow that because most of the time people see your true skills way before you see yourself. And I just had to tap into it and lean into that advantage. And I was like, yeah, that only makes sense that if it is coming naturally, that these people are enjoying it and praising me for it so that I can then leverage this expertise and like help others. So that is when I transitioned from email marketing to personal brand building. And then I was like, okay, now if I am doing personal brand building and like essentially growing my account and helping people write content, I want to now create my giveaway about personal brand building. And then I attached an element of email marketing, which I had from previously starting my account as email marketer. But um, it was mainly just based around my strengths and my biggest advantages. And it was like 50% writing, how to write great posts, how to grow your account. And then how can you then turn that audience and funnel them into your email list? And how can you funnel them into your newsletter? And then I attached those two elements. So it's not like they only gained insight on how to grow their account. They also gained knowledge on how to write email or like how to set up their newsletter. So it was like very beginnerish. Like it attracted a lot of beginners and
Hmm.
it was meant for those starting out. So it was very helpful for those who had no clue how to build a personal brand, how
Right.
to
Yeah.
like establish a newsletter. And yeah, I launched that and then I saw great market feedback. And then before I made the product paid, I decided to just increase the value of the product. So I added extra elements to it. So I improved the product. So I went over it again, polished it, improved it, perfected it, added more that I could. So I ensured that their money is like worth paying. I basically improved the product before I made it paid. And then I just kept promoting it under my post, and yeah, ended up making like 200 in sales.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Um, you mentioned something about like just iterating upon it, like realizing that like even though it was good, like the giveaway was good, like it needed to be even better for like the paid product. And I love that you meshed together email marketing, which is the expertise that you had before when you were first starting, and you still found a way to recycle that value into like the paid products. So like they not only get like the core of the giveaway, but they also get like this little bonus, which I feel like a lot of people don't really think about that. Like we all start somewhere. Usually it's not like, you figured out personal branding was your thing, but you started with email marketing. Some people, I started with, oh boy, where did I start? I started with a marathon brand that was helping people grow fast. And then I shifted over to like more specific personal branding. Then I scrapped the marathon brand. And then I went to basically the podcast. And then now we're here. And I'm basically not even doing any more like growth or anything that I was doing at the beginning, but I can see how like the growth aspect applies to the podcast, right? Because like there's a whole different niche where people want to learn how to grow their podcast, right? There's so many ways you can apply things that you've already tried, things that might have not worked, and still bring it in and deliver value. So I love that you mentioned how you use email marketing with your paid product. How do you kind of like discipline yourself to show up every day and do the work? Because being a content creator and an entrepreneur is not the easiest thing in the world. How do you kind of stay consistent with your business?
Wow, great question. This is a very essential part of who I am and my business, and that I don't think a lot of creators touch on, and I believe they don't talk about this enough. And I started my online business while I was still in school, and I was in year 12. I was about to graduate, finish school, and it's the end of the year, and my exams are approaching. And I'm trying to make this online thing work. I'm trying to make money online. So stuff is moving. I'm seeing progress. I'm seeing results. I'm seeing insane growth. So my focus was then extremely geared towards business. So it's like,
Right.
this is so much pressure on me right now, but like, this is where most people give up. And they're like, oh, my exams are approaching, so use that as an excuse not to work on their business or like make different priorities. Obviously, everyone has this different priorities, but I at the time was so exhausted as well because I was so stressed over exams that I didn't study for it. And instead of spending my time studying for my exams, I was working on my business every single day, and I was spending hours after school. I was spending hours after I came back home from the gym. I would be working until 12 a.m. And then I would wake up in the morning and like go to school and like still open my laptop and like do some work while I'm in class. So like it was just a very dedicated routine of still persisting through the struggle, through simultaneously finishing school, through dealing with classmates and exams. So it was very stressful, and that caused a lot of anxiety in a long term. But in a short term, I didn't really feel that. And only after I graduated school did I realize how powerful it is to keep your mind sane. Because juggling school and business at the same time is like your both of your feet are in two different boats. You're unstable, you're unbalanced. So like you don't want to let go of the other, and you don't also want to like 100% do the other. So it's like it was such a stressful time in my life.
Hmm.
And only after graduating school did I realize that I need to finally invent a routine that I follow that keeps my mind in peace, and that just helps me show up as the best like writer that I can every single day with a clear mind, with the right message, with impact, with like just so much to give. And I needed to create energy, and I needed to stop pouring out of my cup when the cup wasn't being filled. So like
Oof,
I was
that's a
trying to
banger.
do so, so I was trying to do so many things that I was just put in a circumstance where I had to do those things, but I wasn't fueling my own cup. So like I wasn't
Mm,
generating any energy for myself. I was only giving and giving. And at the end of the day, I never really found the time to spend by myself. And I lacked alone time. I lacked solitude. I lacked solitude to go out and get my creative juices flowing. So in the long term, I started experiencing burnout some days, and I started experiencing lack of creativity and lack of ideas, and like obviously doubting yourself, because like that is the reality of being an entrepreneur, and like you just don't want to doubt yourself, and that only added on to more stress, and that only made me realize how important a solid routine is. So yeah, there were days where I just couldn't show up as my best self, and that was impacting my business. So I no longer wanted that to be the case. And I realized that I could only improve the situation if I take care of my mind. And now I'm following a pretty strict routine. So I wake up in the morning, I don't check my phone until I'm fully like ready to start a day, till I have like, taken care of myself first, like showered and like done all that like necessary stuff. Like you want to take care of yourself first before you open up your phone and take care of the rest of the world.
mm,
So I wake up, I don't check my phone, I just take care of myself. I journal before I work. I now go to a cafe, I open up my journal, like prepare my mind for the day. I set
yep.
tasks for myself, and setting tasks and goals for the day has been a game changer. And it has allowed me to develop better discipline with myself, because you think you have so much in your mind going on that you always have it in your mind. Like you don't have to write it down. You don't have to keep a track of it. Like you already know what you have to do in your head. But that is only creating more fuss in your head. That is only creating more confusion, and your mind is not clear. So it's always like racing. And I needed to just write down those ideas for the day, those tasks. And whenever I get lost or go off track and I'm doubting if I'm being disciplined with my tasks, I can always go back to my journal and like now follow those tasks
Right.
that I've
Yeah.
set for myself. Yeah, and that is one of the most important things that I have now been practicing while being in Colombia, and that has also just given me so much peace of mind and reduced a lot of anxiety about my business. And yeah, just setting tasks and timers whenever I do writing, or whenever I do any type of task, I try to set a timer, and then like not not look anywhere else other than the task at hand until the alarm goes off.
Mm,
And that has contributed a lot to my discipline and really prioritizing fueling your own cup, because as a coach, as a content creator, you have to take care of a lot of people, and you have to show up with the best ideas in your mind every single day. So you need to find ways that you can every day educate your mind and improve your mind, and like get those creative juices flowing. And also being here in Colombia has allowed me to be surrounded by so much nature, which I am so grateful for. Because living in a very urbanized city like London, like you cannot go out for a walk and see all that greenery around you. Like it just adds on to more creativity, and
mhm.
it has definitely improved my creative juices, and mental health has been just a huge part of my journey, and it has only become a huge part of my journey of my business couple of weeks ago. So I've been only implementing this a couple of weeks ago. But to get to this point, I had to go through a lot of burnout, had to experience a lot of anxiety about my business. And the reality is that like nobody has it perfect.
Hmm.
Nobody has it 100% figured out. Like everyone has some type of doubt. Like that is the reality of being an entrepreneur. But like it's how do you deal with those doubts? How do you deal with that stress? What do you do with that stress? How do you respond to it? And that is what determines your success in the long term. And once I started taking care of my mind and practicing things like health and fitness and just going out in the nature, that has just done immense improvement to my business. It has like impacted my business in so many ways.
Money grows on trees.
100% is like when your mind grows, so does your business.
Yeah. And you mentioned a lot there that I want to get into, but let's go back to the coffee shop for a second, the cafe. And so you've journaled, you have your tasks down, you have your laptop open, probably have like a cup of coffee next to you. How do you like stay locked in? Because I know you mentioned that you just like set the timer, then you stare at the screen, and you do only that thing for like however long the timer until the timer goes off. How do you stay focused during that period? Because a lot of people still get distracted. Like if they're in an environment where like there's people moving around, or in a cafe, there's people coming in, coming out. How do you stay focused on that one task without getting distracted?
Great question. And as a person who's always gone to cafes to do work, to get work done, I've developed this like a strategic plan of how not to get myself distracted. It's like you just find the best seat available. You find the best seat in the cafe, which isn't exposed to so many people. And usually that is in the corners. Usually that is in the most in the quiet areas. And yeah, I think it's all about the seating, the seat that you choose. And really, if you are serious about your tasks, you just make that your priority for the next 4 hours and you do not care about anything else going on. And I cannot be bothered unless somebody comes up to me and literally like intervenes and like interrupts me, whatever I'm doing at hand. Like you just do not look away and you give your business your full attention and you devote yourself to your business for the next couple hours. So I think it all comes down to devotion and how bad you want it. Because
Mhm.
when you realize that your time is more valuable than money and quite literally anything in the world, you want to start spending your time wisely. And you do not want to be bothered. You do not want to put yourself in situations where you're constantly being distracted. So, yeah, I usually just go there all on my own. And when I'm in solitude, I'm also able to lock in um, more profoundly and just give it my all.
Yeah. Do you think that there's any like specific strategies that you do to get locked in? Because I know some people, they do like the noise canceling headphones. Some people just like take a shot of espresso. Some people like stare at a wall for like 5 minutes or like meditate before they get into work. Is there anything that you do as a part of your kind of pre-work routine to get focused, to get locked
Holy
in?
cow, that's insane. That's insane. Just stare on the wall. I've never heard of that. Well, I use headphones. Like I do not leave my home without my headphones because I just put on noise canceling and I do not know anything other than my business for the next couple of hours. So like I don't know what to hear, what Joe over there is talking about. I do not want to hear the music in the background. I put on my headphones, put on noise cancellation, and just get to work. Obviously, journal first always. Then I open my PC and start working. So headphones, I think, is like the biggest catalyst to just like zoning in, like
Mhm.
focusing.
So like if you're working somewhere in public or with other people around, find a good seat, put on some headphones, journal before, write down your task, know exactly what to do, and then log in. And only think about your business until that timer goes off. Such a good routine.
100%. Yeah,
Um, you're talking
you have it
about
right.
you're talking about like doubts, right? Like doubts about your business failing, doubts about delivering value for your clients, doubts about things working out for yourself as an entrepreneur. So, how I know you've already touched upon it a little bit, but how do you personally deal with these doubts and how do you kind of um almost turn them into the reason why you keep going? Because I kind of have a feeling that these failures, these setbacks, these obstacles, I mean, getting banned, all these things have created a lot of doubt and, limiting beliefs. So, how have you used them or how have you overcome them and turned them into like something that fuels your business?
Wow, great question. I think, yeah, the biggest breaking point for me was when my account got suspended. And obviously, during that time period, I experienced a lot of anxiety around my brand, but I still had so much self-belief. Sounds cliche, but I believe you just cure doubt by just doing the work that is needed and showing up every single day, smashing all your tasks, doing the best you can. And when I got my account suspended, I was like, holy shit, now I have to get so serious about like
Hmm.
everything from scratch. And although it was a very obviously like painful experience to go through, it was the best thing that ever happened to me because I proved myself that I can do it twice. I proved that I grew my first account purely on skill and not luck. And now people have more respect for me as well because I can prove myself. And so what turned then that doubt into more drive was self-belief, first of all, understanding that you are capable of doing anything twice if you set your mind to it. And I just had confidence and self-belief that if I did once, I can do it twice. So like nothing is going to stop me from it. Like maybe the growth is going to be slower, maybe things will not go 100% how I plan to, but I will just make sure that I do not let this stop me because a lot of things can easily stop entrepreneurs and creators on Twitter just stop like doing the things they love. And it also comes down to how bad you want it. And if you really, really want to achieve something, you will not let anything stop you. You will not get a restriction stop you from posting and like writing, I don't know, 3 long forms a day because you want to grow your account so bad. Suspension will not stop you. Slow growth will not stop you. No connections will not stop you. No clients will not stop you from growing. It's like you're just becoming comfortable with the fact that it doesn't always go the way you expect. And that is reality. And that is entrepreneurship. And obviously, getting banned was like one of the most unexpected things I could ever
Hmm.
possibly imagine. So I was like, it's not what that did to me, it's how I react to it. So, what do I do now with that? How do I do? What exactly do I do next with this information? Because there are so many people who have their accounts suspended and they just quit because they
Hmm.
let that stop them. But I
Hmm.
was like, heck no, this only gives me
Heck
more
no.
drive. Heck no, this only gives me more drive to go all in and build from scratch and like I would do it genuinely for free. So that's why I keep doing it. And that also makes a point that a lot of people aren't doing what they would be doing for free. Like if you wouldn't be writing online for free, knowing that you would never get paid for doing it, like you shouldn't be here.
Right.
And that is also the case with me, why I kept like growing my TikTok account for 3 years, not seeing like any growth at all, like, or any income. I kept doing it because I loved it. And I became so great at that skill that now I am able to apply it to different areas of my life and then like make income from it and like see better results. So it's like, yeah, just don't let that stop you, and take that as fuel to keep only going forward. And that is the winner's mindset. 100% authority.
Esther's a winner for real. I love that you mentioned self-belief as like that all-encompassing thing that if you have self-belief in yourself, then it is impossible to lose because even if you get banned, even if you get suspended, even if you lose all your friends somehow, like you're still gonna do the work because you believe in yourself. And if you combine that with what you just said about being able to do the work even if you weren't getting paid for it, even if it was free, that is a dangerous combo. That is a very dangerous combination because that it makes you into someone that is unbeatable, right? Doesn't matter what happens to you, you still show up every single day to do the work, even though it's hard. And even though it's not giving you more clients or making you more money. Yeah, absolutely. Self-belief is everything. Nature. I want to talk about nature because that was the other interesting point that you mentioned. What are you thinking about or, like, whenever you're in nature, like, what are you doing exactly? Like, do you, like, walk with music, or you just, like, walk through and just, like, I don't know, immerse yourself in the ambiance?
Great question. It depends. So there's just like three versions of me going on a walk. So it's like one that doesn't like listen to anything. I just go out without headphones. Like I try to enjoy the nature and like silence and like enjoy the present moment. That is one. The second is me putting on my headphones and listening to some type of podcast or a YouTube video on my walk and like educating myself. So the other
Mhm,
side is just educating myself and really spending that time educating my mind and improving myself and really thinking about life and things, and yeah, taking that time to get in some movement and develop my brain. And then the third version is if I'm in a different mood, I just listen to music. And music is a big part of who I am. It's a big part of my day. Like I need to listen to music every single day. And I think a lot of people despise music, although it is such a like full part of people's lives, I believe. Music just makes you feel good. So it's like
mhm,
if that makes you feel good, do whatever it is like that makes you feel good. And that is sometimes what I do. And it just also helps me relax. And yeah, music is good. Music, podcasts, or just silence.
hmm. Of these music podcasts/education or silent walks through nature, which ones do you think are the most or, like, which one do you think is the most valuable for business, for, like, an entrepreneur?
I think going for a walk and listening to a podcast, educating your mind. 100%. Entrepreneurs should be educating themselves every single day and like improving their mind, like growing their mind in any way possible. And I believe the second most important is walking in silence, because
Mhm,
silence makes you, it forces you to be with your thoughts. And the number one problem with people, creators, and entrepreneurs that like they don't spend time alone listening to their own thoughts. So at the end of the day, you have these like tens of thousands of thoughts during the day, but you don't really take the time to reflect on them. You just need to spend that time and solitude to be with yourself and understand like what is your mind really going through, because most of the time we don't really know. We don't really know until something in the mind accumulates and something bad happens. So like it's just a mindful practice to also reflect on the day and reflect on your thoughts. And another way of doing that would be just journaling and getting your thoughts out there and like
Hmm.
expressing yourself. Like you just need to get to know yourself as best as possible. And when you get to know yourself, you know exactly what you want and you know exactly what you don't want in life. And that just makes absolutely everything in life so much easier. In business, relationships, and family, like personal life, anything. You just have to know what you want and what you don't want. And then you work on that. And when you know yourself the best, you're able to show up as your best self every day.
Write that down. So good. Okay, zooming out, it took you 3 years to make your first dollar online, and this all started, when you were a kid and you're like your entrepreneur aspirations, but also whenever you were making $3 an hour as a barista. So what lessons did you learn from these 10-hour shifts and, people pleasing, even
Yeah.
though you hated it?
No, so many. I could just go on for hours. But I believe one of the most, like the biggest takeaway from working as a barista, I think, was people pleasing. It forces you to just please people because, like, customers always right. And your needs are swept out of the way. Nobody cares about you. Everyone cares about the client. Everyone cares about the customer. And as I was working as a barista, I always had my own opinions, and I always like to stand up for myself. I like to confront people if there was anything wrong. Like, not that I would go there and like argue with people, but it's like I have a mind of my own, so it's like I don't want to please absolutely everybody. Like, I don't want to please people if I don't feel like it, and they're just getting more benefit out of it. And I'm just putting myself in a situation where I don't feel like I'm being true to myself. And that just made me realize so much about myself and about life and relationships and the dynamic and between humans and business in general. And it just made me realize that I don't want to be ever people pleasing. It is not who I am. And I just want to have a workspace where I can be 100% myself and like not have somebody tell me to work 10-hour shifts, although that is completely outrageous. And like I was still like a minor, so that was not ethically right. So I
Yeah.
was like, so I'm slaving quite literally for €3 an hour doing work that I'm not supposed to be doing, but somebody above me can tell me and basically dictate me and like do whatever they want with me. And yeah, people pleasing just made me feel so exhausted at the end of the day. I would come back home and having to deal with so many people added on to more exhaustion and more burden emotionally because one thing is, yeah, it takes a lot of your physical energy to be like doing tasks and like moving your body around, like just working in general. Like, of course, there's that physical side, which is like fine, but then that gets amplified when your mind gets exhausted. So like when your mind gets exhausted, that physical pain is now amplified. Everything is worse. You feel a lot tired than you actually are. And why are you feeling emotional exhaustion? Is because you're dealing with people who are just being not nice to you. They're taking so much of your time. There's so much of your energy, and you have to just communicate with them. And you're exchanging energies again. So it's like a bit spiritual, but that's how it is. It's all about the energy. And I just like felt like my energy was being always drained. So that I would always feel 10 times more tired than actually was. So I had no time left for myself at the end of the day. And it only made me realize that I need to have my own beliefs and values and stand up for them. And if I'm not going to do it for myself, nobody else is going to come and save me. That's why I quit the job like 4 months later. And I was like, it is no longer serving me. Like I could make lattes for the rest of my life for free. Like I would do that for free for the rest of my life, but it's the other aspect to the job, which is just making me feel like I'm being just treated like a robot. And yeah, I never liked that. I never liked that. I had to live by somebody else's rules and do business by somebody else's rules that were harming me at the end of the day and taking away from my freedom.
And now you make the rules.
I make the rules.
Hell yeah. So I usually like to ask the question about, I make a theoretical example that if you lost everything tomorrow, that what would you do to build your business back up? But it literally happened to you.
Yeah.
So we'll just go to the next question. Um, this one's kind of deep. What has entrepreneurship taught you about yourself as a person?
Whoa. Deep. It has taught me that, again, I've been more of a people pleaser than I'd like in the past. So I would make silly decisions. I would be naive. I would be just pretty vulnerable in business sometimes. And then once I learned those lessons, that made me realize that actually I need to set boundaries with people. I need to
Mm,
stand up for myself. I
hmm
need to start um living by my own rules and doing business by the rules that I want, and made me realize that I was seeing life and business through like rose tinted glasses. But that was just a couple months ago. That was when I was just getting started in business. And for that reason, yeah, I made just silly decisions, and being in business made me realize that, well, the reality is that it is never going to be the way you want to see it. Like I was seeing life how I wanted to see it, not for what it actually was. And yeah, just see life for what it is. And that is going to help you become such a better person because you know how to see things for what they actually are
hmm
and not take
Absolutely.
things for granted and take better decisions and not get fooled around in business. Because let's be real, this is a very competitive market. Like any business is competition, essentially. Like people are going to want to like get everything out of you to get it their way. And you just have to learn how to deal with people. So that was my main lesson. Like I needed to learn how to deal with people, not by people pleasing, but by setting boundaries. Because I always thought I had boundaries, when in reality, it was like I was struggling to really implement them to the
hmm
extent that I wanted. So I had to work on just not being that naive anymore and seeing life for what it actually was. So that has helped me immensely, both personally and professionally.
Yeah, I love how entrepreneurship just teaches you more about not just being a better entrepreneur and how to run a business, but teaches you how to just like be a better human, a more, I guess, prepared human because the world fucking sucks. And
Yeah.
entrepreneurship teaches you that and it teaches you how to deal with it. Um, okay, Esther, I love ending off every episode with one question. If you could experience 1 minute of a one moment of one memory in your life again, what would it be and why would you choose to experience it again?
Well, I think signing my first coaching client, because my first coaching client like wasn't a low ticket offer. Like he paid me an amount that I thought I would never see in my bank account. It's like,
Mhm.
forget about gaining 1,000 followers in 24 hours. Forget about building my account from scratch second time. All that is great. But the most pivotal moment, I believe, in my life has been the moment when I signed a coaching client. And I believe, like, to most people, that is just like, oh, whatever, just a win. But like, to me, that was an insane mindset shift. Insane mindset shift. I thought, like, what the hell is going on? Like, I was the happiest I've ever been. And I was so proud of myself. And I was so happy for myself. And like, it was like a miracle. And immediately I just called my boyfriend and like I told him about the news and like we both celebrated. And it was just a very just great moment to celebrate. Like, I know people don't celebrate those things, but it was like the moment I had been waiting for 3 years. So I don't care that much about the amount. It's like, holy crap, I actually made this happen. And I know what made it happen. So like now I can do it 10 times over, 100 times over. And my stuff works. And that gave me so much belief in myself and in my future. And that is what made me not go to university, not pursue a uni degree, and go all in on my business instead and take this seriously. And that opened up a whole new world to me. So that moment, that 1 minute was, I believe, the most pivotal moment I've had in my life, like one of the most. But I would love to experience that one again the most. It's just undefeated.
Love that. I love that. Okay, Esther, is there anything that you want to share with the world? This is the part where if you've got like an offer or anything that you want to plug, then you can go ahead and promote it here.
um, I'd like to just give some advice, and I would like to say to anyone watching this that if you're going through some freaking hard stuff right now, going through some hard phase, just keep going, because I've been there myself. And like, when it feels like everything is just falling on you, everything is going to shit, that's exactly the moment before everything gets better. So like, keep believing in yourself and just keep pushing forward. And yeah, this month I will be launching my very own community, the 1% Club, and it will launch in 8 days. And that is where I help creators write better content online and grow their account and monetize later down the line. And it has been a community that I have been trying to build for some time. So anyone willing to connect with some amazing people, willing to learn from each other, willing to learn from me, I'd be happy to do that and teach you my ways of content, how I've grown from 0 to 1,000 now once again, and yeah, help each other grow.
The 1% club. That's got a ring to it. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, the 1% authority gal, Esther. This has been so fun, so enlightening, so eye-opening, and I appreciate you for hopping on the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Ryan. It was a pleasure talking to you, and it was definitely so much fun.